I'm honoured to have the opportunity of addressing the graduates today on what is a very important milestone in each of their lives. I also add my congratulations to each of the graduates for their hard work, their commitment and their perseverance to get to where they are today. But graduates, as you sit there today, proudly cradling your testament, it's important to recognise that what's in that cylinder certifies a very important learning and development achievement in your life. But it's not the only or total key to success in the future. And whilst we all measure our success in different ways, there are a whole range of important ingredients which mix with our academic qualifications to achieve career and life success. I just want to touch briefly on a few of these. Understanding your strengths and be prepared to pursue these. Being persistent and positive in the face of adversity. Seizing the opportunities and following your instinct. Most of us will be aware that a week ago today, very sadly, the world lost one of the world's greatest technologists and entrepreneurs, and Steve Jobs, who was the founder of Apple. Amongst all of the media coverage about his life and his success in life, I noticed that there was a reference to a graduation ceremony at Stanford University, which he spoke at in 2005 on YouTube. And that speech highlighted how he achieved success by focusing on his strengths, being persistent in the face of adversity, and seizing opportunities. It's a moving story about how he was put out for adoption and rejected, how when he went to college he focused on subjects that he loved, calligraphy, art, media and technology, rather than a structured curriculum, and this was then directly reflected in the success of Apple products with their high-quality imagery and graphics. It's a story about how he was sacked as the CEO of a company which is an extremely successful company, of which he was the founder. And then here he returned to Apple when that company acquired another highly successful company which he subsequently established. And finally, how his battle with cancer enabled him to clearly set his priorities in and understanding the true meaning of life. After your celebrations tonight, or perhaps tomorrow, in a little quiet time, I encourage each of you to do a search on Steve Jobs' Stanford speech, and I'm sure that you'll find this to be an enormously enlightening, moving and rewarding experience. All of us have setbacks in our lives, and I've certainly had my fair share of those, but the vast majority of the ones I've faced have been addressed, I guess, intuitively. It's interesting that many of you here have come out of the starting stalls of life better than I did. I'm not too proud to tell you that at secondary school I failed Year 11. When I eventually graduated from secondary school, my father counselled me that the future of the world was going to be based around technology, and he wasn't wrong. But without properly realising what I was good at, I chose engineering as a career, and I'm not too proud to tell you that I flunked out in second year. So before my 20th birthday, I was starting to believe that I really was a failure in life. An old friend came to me and said, "Ken, you don't really understand what your strengths are. Your strengths have got to be in the areas of business, accounting and finance." So I turned my attention to that stream, and in the first year part-time I did a full-time year and did very well, and I was offered a number of scholarships at the conclusion of the first year. And because I'd been working in the Commonwealth Government, I decided to select a Commonwealth scholarship. There was another reason why I did, because they had this strange quirk of arrangement whereby if you were working in the government and you won a scholarship, you could continue to be paid at your rate of pay while you studied full-time. And I think I was paid a level around about $50,000 a year full-time for 2 years to study. You might imagine how good that was and how many friends I had during my course. This really propelled into a fast-rising career which focused on my strengths. So in the period from 20 to 27, at the age of 27, I was acting Chief Finance Officer for the largest business enterprise in government in Australia, the Postmaster General's Department, with a staff of 134,000 people. As the Deputy Chancellor mentioned, I then went on to a senior level career in most major areas of the telecommunications industry, both here in Australia and internationally, and retired as Managing Director of Telecom Australia's global businesses. But at every level of my career, persistence, persistence, persistence has been critical to success. We don't have a lot of time today to talk about stories, but I've got one story that's relevant because it is so significant, it was so significant to Australia, and it also involved a racetrack like where we are today. When we established our global telecommunications businesses, we set 3 key objectives to win major projects all over the world. The largest of those was to win a contract to manage and operate the telecommunications networks in Saudi Arabia, a very, very lucrative project. The incumbent organisation was Bell Canada, and we bid aggressively against them. We underbid them significantly. But we did learn that they were likely to be still awarded that contract. I received a phone call from our Royal Prince, who was our joint venture partner, and he said, "Ken," he said, "you have to get your Prime Minister here to Saudi Arabia next week to lobby on behalf of our contract." I explained, "Your Royal Highness, it doesn't quite work like that in Australia." So we negotiated, and I thought I'd negotiated a great position whereby I would ask the Prime Minister to sign a letter of support for our project. So the next morning when I approached the Prime Minister's office, I got every reason you could imagine under the sun why it was either not appropriate, not relevant, and it wasn't going to happen that the Prime Minister was going to sign a letter of support. I noted in the media that the following day the Prime Minister was hosting the Prime Minister of Ireland at the races at Randwick in Sydney. I managed to get myself into the members' reserve at Randwick. I knew the Prime Minister. I went over to him. He greeted me, introduced me to the Irish Prime Minister, and then he made a big mistake. He said, "Ken, how's everything?" And I looked at him earnestly in the eye and I said, "Prime Minister, I need your help." It did the trick. That night we had the letter ready. I took it across to his residence in Sydney. He signed it. I might say he wasn't very happy, and there's a lot of bureaucrats in Canberra who have never spoken to me since. The letter was couriered to our ambassador in Riyadh, who presented it to the decision makers. They reviewed that project and the awarding of that contract, and they then awarded it to us in Australia. And as a direct result of that ambush attack on the Prime Minister, more than 3,000 Australians, senior managers, top-level technical people and customer service gurus and their families had the opportunity to live, to work, to attend school and to enjoy the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for a period of up to 8 years. That's but one story when I look back on my career, and I can think about the many, many examples where persistence and opportunity optimisation have been key ingredients in success. As you move forward with your careers, remember you only get one go at life. So you have to make the most of the opportunities that are given to you. We all need to think about the power of communication and the ability to relate to others, remembering that others may see your strengths differently to you. You need to think about your strengths and focus on these. When you work to your strengths, you are more likely to have fun and be satisfied with your career. Continue to develop yourself and keep relevant. Strive for excellence and adopt the adage, near enough is nowhere near good enough. Remember, you generate your own luck in life. It rarely just happens. Be persistent and continually find ways to do things better and smarter. Do something for the community outside your work environment. And in particular, I want you, and I include all the family and friends here, to think about how you can contribute in assisting someone in the future to be given the opportunity that they might not otherwise have had to achieve academically in the way that you have. Finally, I sincerely wish each of you individually success in your career and in life. What you make of it is up to you. VU has provided you with an important platform to assist you in achieving your ultimate success. Enjoy the day, celebrate. Don't forget to watch the Steve Jobs YouTube, and I hope to meet as many of you as possible at the after-graduation function. Thank you.